sky is dripping gold and wrapping around me. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I'm feeling so divine.
Hey, yeah, y'all will never bring me down. Y'all will never bring me down. I feel like a king right now. I feel like a king right now. I zone out when it get too loud, but I'm still locked in, getting lost and found. Y'all will never bring me down. I feel like a king right now.
Today we are looking at the all-new, the one electric skateboard for Linnpower, a brand new chapter in e-skate, and everything from top to toe is new, so let's cover that now. Now, as a reviewer, I don't normally get on something and get completely stumped on where to start with this board. Honestly, I've been talking, Drew's helping me out today. If you want to see another perspective, check out Drew's channel. He did an absolute cinematic piece for his one. The amount of innovation on this board is insane. And I'm gonna try my best to highlight each and every single point about this brand new chapter of e-skate. As you can see, it's a carbon fiber chassis which has got like a void inside, and if you know, there's actually a hump in the middle, and that's to do with the high voltage battery in this board, which I'll talk about a bit later. Now, one thing about this deck in particular is it is designed by the automotive industry with a monocoque design, which is the same kind of technology that is used in supercars currently. Another thing that's super interesting and unique to this style of board is that the mounting point for the hangers is actually attached to the deck of the board itself. It's not connected to the deck, it's connected to the body of the deck. Now, what that allows you to do is it gives you multiple planes of adjustment for your board, so you can actually rise this board and lower it depending on your configuration you want. So it is actually technically possible to put street wheels on this board as well, so it actually makes it a 2-in-1 board. What's nice about the arms of the deck is they can go higher or lower, so you can keep the clearance no matter what style of wheel you apply to it. So Linnpower is actually releasing two different versions of this board. This is the select version, this is the base model, which is not a base model at all. Or you've got the Prime, which is an absolute rocket, which is insane. But if you want to know more about that, check out Scott Davis's video, because he's going to do a full release of that board. As you notice as well, there's this hump in the middle of the deck. Now that is to expand the battery to an even larger size, which we'll talk about now. In this board, believe it or not, we've got the same battery that was in a Linnpower Nazari Super Sport. In that massive deck, that massive board, we've compacted all that power and that high voltage into this board. So this is actually an 18S 4P battery, which is absolutely insane to think that just a little bit of give and a vertical access to expand that battery just a tiny bit allows you to get that small compact shape, which you can use for a versatile amount of things. The difference between that board and this board is this board you can take to work all day, every day as a commuter, and then on a weekend, intro to speed, sending it. Woo! Jesus Christ. As I've said a lot on this channel, I'm kind of bored of seeing black on black boards more and more often. I love the fact that Linnpower has had the bravery to make a all white with red accent design. It gives an eye-catching like persona to it, and it's not just like another board. Everything at this board, at a glance, you can realize is new, bespoke, and something special. Also as well, with that top mounted electronics, you've actually got the charging port at the top and the power switch in the center of your leg. So no more you lifting up the board and fishing around trying to find the power adapter. You can now just simply bring your board into the office, put it underneath your desk and plug it in straight away. Now, what's special about the charger for this board in this version of it is actually a 20 amp max charger. So the standard charger that comes with this board will charge this board in 2 hours, which is well within the Goldilocks time for charging. However, if you need it more, for fast charging, for racing environments, you can actually get a fast charger and charge this board in less than an hour. An 18S 4P charged within an hour is absolutely crazy. And in the higher version of this board, it actually charges at 30 amp. And me and Drew were discussing, we don't even know if our sockets can produce 30 amps, but apparently this board will gobble it up. Another thing about this deck enclosure as well, with the top lid, is actually upgradable, so you can actually add some bindings to the top mount of the deck as well. So those racing enthusiasts who want a bit more grip at higher speeds, you can actually add bindings to this board to really refine it as a race board only. But once again, if you had this, you could simply remove those bindings throughout the week, use this board as your daily commuter, and then on the weekend send it to the top boards out there. This board can do it all. So that segues onto the trucks. So these are both split angle trucks, 45 degrees in the front and 15 at the back. This means this thing is designed to be arrow straight at high speeds. So with this all new truck system, it has a unique characteristics that is unlike any other board I've ridden currently. The only thing I can compare it to similarities is that looseness and suppleness and that unique characteristics that a Stooge race truck would have. Now this isn't a Stooge race truck, this is a whole new design that's unique to Linn. And what I like about this truck system in specifically is the fact that at low speed it is the most nimble thing you've ever ridden in your life. And what's nice actually about the agility of this board is it stays consistent over the entire length of the turn. I was explaining to Drew, it doesn't seem to teeter like a board, like left and right. It almost like it's like a roller coaster, and it scoops into the banks, which gives it a more natural surfy like style. So imagine going up a bank and coming down on a traditional like kingpin truck, but change that, but you're going up and down on a bank, if that makes sense. So it feels way more surfy, way more unique in that characteristics. And as you look throughout the board, there's loads of different accents of CNC machining all over this board. Now this is actually made out of 70-75 aluminum, which means that it's strong, lightweight, and built to last. And Linnpower stuff has always been built to last, and I'm so thrilled that they're coming out with these complete unique unicorns in the e-skate industry, with something that you could take to work and take to the racetrack. What's surprising about this truck width is it's only 23 centimeters wide, which isn't an enormous amount of truck size for a board that is doing stupid power and speed. They've managed to keep the width and the length narrow and compact without having an absolute enormous footprint, kind of redefine what we think an e-board should be when it comes to speed and power. Now I started off with the trucks specifically because the trucks define how fast you can go on a board. Doesn't matter how powerful your board does. If the trucks don't give that stability, it doesn't matter. Now with that stability of these trucks, we can now talk about the motors that are powering this beast. Now the battery itself is actually credited to do 100 amps bus current discharge out of the battery. And with these motors, each motor is designed to take 80 amps each. So that's a combined power of 160 amps total. Now, if you notice there, the battery is designed for 100 amps and each motor is meant to take 80 amps individually, which means there's a 20 amp cushioned window for safety and security when you're riding. It's not about cranking your board to maximum performance. Safety is always the #1 priority, and having that little bit of cushion in the battery to allow these motors to perform effectively and efficiently and finally safely is key to producing a high-end, fast, safe electric skateboard. Now with these two different configurations, on this model you're actually getting 6487 motors, but on the higher end, ridiculously overpowered version, they crank up to 7087 motors, which is absolutely insane. And what's nice about the electronics in this board is that it's VESC compatible. So you can really configure, if you have the mindset and the curiosity and the desire to learn, you can tune this board for your own personal preference. So if you want to crank down the acceleration curve, crank it up, change those settings, it is all unique for you. And with the electronics and with these motors and the VESC-based system, it allows you to tune the board for your own personal preferences. Now, one thing that's special about these motors as well is that they are reinforced for hard wearing and longevity. It's actually designed to do over 10,000 RPM compatible, so these things are tanky and built for racing. And this motor as well is designed to go from 0 to 50 kilometers an hour in 3.5 seconds with a top end of 70 kilometers an hour. And the prime version cranks that number up to 85 kilometers an hour and 0 to 50 in 2 seconds. That is insane. With this absolutely outstanding remote, which is the same on the Zephyr, when you turn this remote off, it actually turns the board off at the same time, which is a nice safety feature. So I seem to find myself always turning this remote back on and then turning the board back on. It's a nice little touch to make sure you ride safely. I tell you what, the reverb on these gear drives are really, really nice. When you let the throttle off, it has that kind of... But what's nice about these gear drives is there's been a common thread with gear drives recently, the same kind of gear drives on multiple different boards. Now this gear drive is actually the 4.3 version of this board, so it shows you how many chapters and innovations there has been for this gear drive system. And now the next chapter of this update means that this gear drive is actually 43% more compact and smaller and lightweight without compromising on the strength. Now that is only possible because these are 60/61 CNC gear drives. They're actually 470% stronger than a traditional gear drive. The gear drive they had before is actually 470% weaker than what's possible now, and it's 43% lighter. That is absolutely insane. You actually have two types of gearing available for this board. You can actually have it in a more torquey setup if that's what you're looking for, or more of a high speed setup. And I'll tell you one thing, high speed is not a problem on this board. You can go as fast as you like on this thing. Also, most gear drives are locked down to a specific hub, wheel or tyre size. This wheel actually has a scope of 125mm wheel, so you could put the Mad Max wheels on this thing if you wanted to, or you can crank that number all up to 180mm AT tyre. So it gives you a scope to choose and configure the board to your favourite kind of wheel or street wheel configuration, which is a lot of things gear drives can't do. So next thing I want to talk about is the absolutely unique quick swappable hub system, which has no screws at all. It's actually designed to only work with pressure. So this is an absolutely amazing feature about this board. So if I was to inflate this tyre, you can easily replace the inner tube. So if you're going out for a skate, you don't need any extra tools or components to take this off. These are the racing slick tyres. So these are the ones designed for more like track-based urban riding. But they do actually make like a more of an urban assault version, which has a bit more grooves in it for more kind of street riding and a little bit of off-roading as well. I just love the way this thing carves. It doesn't carve like this, it carves like scooping into the truck. So this is highly addictive, this ride feeling. Once again, we've got a new board that's ruined every other board that's out there. Like, look at this, you know, just kind of easy. Easy. And just the way this thing carves and banks is absolutely glorious. And it's refreshing because it's new, it's unique, it's bespoke, and there's so many things about this board that are just revolutionary, including the price point. This board, everything I've talked about with the CNC parts, fast charging, CNC gear drives, carbon fibre deck, unique truck system, unique tyres, all those factors together. This price is $2,000 for all this. And it's almost turned into a fun game between me and Drew shouting, $2,000 for this? $2,000 for all this is going to completely, I tell you now, it's going to revolutionise the price point for boards. I don't know why this thing's $2,000, and with my discount code, even cheaper. Honestly, guys, when I saw that's this disgusting. For the first time, I was absolutely blown away by its absolute performance, the quality of everything about this board, and the fact it is $2,000. It is absolutely a game changer in this industry, and I can't wait to see what's coming out from Linn next. If this is what's coming out now for $2,000, I only can imagine what's coming out next. Anyway, guys, this board was an absolute thrill to review, and it just got me excited about reviewing what's coming out this year in e-skate. Anyway, guys, stay safe, stay shredding, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.